Welcome to the Jewish Consumer Direct podcast. I'm Nate Clegg, and I'm here with Carson Poppenger, and we have two very special guests that we're excited to have on here with us. So, Carson, why don't you introduce our guests for us?
Yeah, we're excited to have these two guests from LinkUnite, founder of LinkUnite and CEO Amanda Farris, and Sara Malo, who's the president and COO. And you're going to hopefully give us a good overview and background on LinkUnite and, kind of how you got here and where you're going with it. But first, I thought we could maybe start off with just sort of having the two of you just give us your backgrounds and some of the experience that you have in the industry, in lead gen specifically.
Oh, yeah. Sara and I go way back.
Don't start dating us already.
I'll refrain from dates, but I came from the SaaS infrastructure side of the industry. So Mohammed Al-Kandari over at Leeds PDA, my intro into the industry. And I used to work with Sara buying booths way back. Again, no dates. But it was a different time ago, but it definitely gave a great experience to how the business models work and meeting all sorts of wonderful people through demos and shows. And naturally, it just kind of evolved into this community that is now LinkUnite, which we'll get a little bit more into. But that was kind of my start in the industry.
Yeah, I've been around a hot minute myself. I think it's over 22 years-ish. Yikes. I actually started in affiliate marketing as an affiliate marketing manager. From then I met Missy and Sean, who co-founded Affiliate Summit. So I got into the event side of things. And I've basically done business development for all of the events in the industry. So it's pretty crazy. Then became really good friends with Mike Farris. So now I help him run Lead Gen World and Contact.io. And of course, Amanda, her and I met in the industry, 12 years ago-ish. And as soon as I met her, I was like, okay, we need to be friends forever. And, I needed to always make sure she was at the same events I was at. So we've been around a while.
We've been in the industry quite a while. And I know that long before we were even known, we were just trying to make a name for ourselves. I was like, Amanda and Sara are making it happen. And so it's a pleasure to kind of get to know you guys better over the last year or two and have you here so we can kind of talk and get more background and more context and kind of what you're working on, where you're going. So it's a pleasure.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I was going to say my first affiliate summit, I'm pretty sure I met you, Sara, there, but it feels like I've been in the industry for 17 years, pretty close to 22, but not quite. But and I remember going to affiliate summit and seeing Sara there, and it was a long time ago. Fewer gray hairs and everything, So
that's an understatement.
Official title.
Yeah,
you're OGs.
Yeah,
for
OGs for sure.
Yeah. So.
Well, yeah. Tell us about LinkUnite now. We're fans of LinkUnite. We're supporters here at Squeeze and everything you're doing there. What was the impetus? What got that started?
I think the origin story is the most fun. I think Sara and I love to tell is being in Boston at LeadsCon way back in the day. And it was several years in for all of our careers. And there were quite a few of us kind of matriculating around in the industry at that time. And there just weren't a lot of women. There's a lot more now, but at the time were very few, especially at the show, especially around that like director level and up positions. And so Sara and I were sitting in a bar with Debbie Conrad and Jewel, who works with them as well, the lead group. And we started writing down names of all of the wonderful women that we knew. And quite literally, we're just walking up to people going like, who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? Who would be, a great part of a group that we could put together to kind of a collective of, help people grow in their careers or in the industry or whatever it might be. And it literally grew from there. So it's just kind of turned into a spreadsheet. We formalized it into the, Excel apocalypse that we all live in. Yeah. But we did create a spreadsheet and we just started outreach and really just circling up people that we knew and kind of had the same experience that we did and just started sharing our experiences. And it naturally evolved into the group. And then we gave it a name and then we had an in-person event. And it's kind of evolved into the beast that it is now.
Yeah, it is. It is big. We see it everywhere. We see it at all the trade shows. We've sent some of our staff to some of those events, live person events, like the one last year in Nashville, I will say it looked pretty awesome, and I felt a little jealous. But I'm not invited, and I'm okay with that. So yeah, those events look awesome, and we hear the feedback coming back from the team was that it was awesome. It was just a very, very positive and formative sort of event for them in the industry. So
we've switched up the format a couple of different times. So this one seems to resonate the best with the group, was having content on one day and activities. It gives them an opportunity to learn and then network. And I think Sarah and I have been tinkering with works and what doesn't. And I think we kind of have a good formula now, and we're excited for LinkUnite 5, which is coming up, and figuring out a way to really promote that in the industry.
Right on. You did one in Park City too, like last year, I believe, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
We've determined to never go to Vegas, but we've picked different spots all over the country that we don't typically get to go to on our conference circuit, which is usually New York, San Diego, LA, Vegas. I think we're all used to Miami. So
yeah, it's all the same every time. Yeah, I'm glad you're doing that, because it's annoying. And at this point, we love Contact.io, Sarah, so don't get this wrong, but I'm a little bit sick of Denver too. I think because it's like 4 or 5 years in a row going there for that show. It's a good show.
I agree. I think it's time for a little change with Contact, but we'll nudge Mike a little bit on that.
Yeah.
I really appreciate what you're doing in the industry with women, and sort of getting a voice and some community, right? Because I know my wife specifically, Amy. I don't think you've ever met her, Amy. She likes to stay behind the scenes. She doesn't come out to events or anything like that. But in the late 90s, she was studying computer science at Eastern Washington University, and she was one of 3 women in her program. And they graduated together, and then she came to Utah and ended up in a career role with a local company on their development team. She was on their development team, and it was her and her sister and like all other men that were on the team.
Bless her heart.
And so,
yeah, no doubt. I was about to say,
but she gets along great with guys, and stuff, and but at the same time, just sort of feeling like maybe like you don't have as much of a voice or something like that, and like being able to just share everything that all your experience and perspective and everything like that, I think is so wonderful.
It's camaraderie. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah.
I think, and it's kind of the same thing for us. Sarah and I were just all male companies, and we loved it, but it's nice when you go to a show and you're like, oh my God, another woman.
Yeah, there's a woman there.
It almost became where we would see another woman and be like, who is that? Like, we need to know her.
Yeah. Well, let's say somebody joins LinkUnite. They come to their first meeting, or if they're on a conference call with a bunch of you, what do you talk about? What do they look forward to? Like, what's that experience like for them?
Yeah, so we have a monthly meetup for our members, which is fantastic. So, we send them a Discord link. We have a private Discord, and we ask them to introduce themselves, let us know your background, what company you're from. And that inside the Discord, everybody starts networking. And then we ask, like I said, the monthly meetup, you come, introduce yourself. We have guest speakers. What's great about our network is if somebody's trying to meet somebody or a certain company, they want an intro, hop in Discord. Does anybody know anybody at Squeeze? Yeah, I know Carson. Let me make that intro. So it's been absolutely amazing. Amanda and I use it so much ourselves. We wish we did this 15 years ago, at least.
Networking is such a critical part of our business. We rely on networking and relationships and all the people that we've worked with over the years. And so it's super important to build your network and to get to meet new people. And sometimes it doesn't feel like, I know for me personally, I'm sort of like an introvert. I'd rather just sort of like be, sort of off to the side. I don't want to go up and start a conversation or anything like that. I've been to some networking events where they sort of create opportunities to have discussion, and that sort of helps. But I think building that relationship is so key for your business, for your personal brand, for the company that you're working with, if you're in business development especially, and things. And a lot of the relationships we've met at conferences, we met both of you through the conferences as well. And so that's a perfect example.
And the monthly meetings, I was going to say one thing about like bringing in the guests too, from the networking side is it's not like we just get together and introduce ourselves. Each month is a content or a topic or a guest speaker based on the request of the group. So, for instance, in January, people wanted a class on media buying. So we went out and found someone to come in and specifically teach that topic, and they can actually talk and have questions and have Q&A with that individual and then discuss amongst themselves within Discord. So it creates networking because you're asking questions. You can learn relationship-wise from other people, like emulating them, go figure out what they're doing, what works in their tech stack, so on and so forth. And it kind of just gives a natural way to talk to someone. Because like you said, it's hard to walk up to someone and be like, hey, how's it going? You know, we're extroverts at shows, but on the day-to-day, when you're at home, it's a little different. Right.
Yeah, for sure. And what I love about what you just explained, Amanda, is like you've actually tailor-made this content for what they want.
Yeah.
I mean, historically, when I've been able to network on a day-to-day basis, is typically something like LinkedIn. And LinkedIn has gotten so loud and so ridiculous, frankly, in the recent years. And it's hard to like digest that in any sort of meaningful way. And there's so many people hitting up the people we're looking for. Like our ICP is inundated with requests and comments and things. So to cut through all that noise can be tough. What you've done is you've boiled it down to the right audience doing the right things, talking about what they need to talk about, and having true networking. So I think that's really beautiful.
We love it. We agree too. LinkUnite or LinkedIn is absolutely crazy. I do think that at this point we should start screenshotting all of the amazing outreach messages that we get and just make some sort of little book.
Right.
It's just entertaining for the industry because it's hysterical.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Now I've got a question. As you two have turned into these like mega, I would say mentors to the LinkUnite community, what are some of the things you've been able to mentor on that you wouldn't have expected? Like, hey, I didn't think I was going to help this person in this way, but now I've gotten to, and kind of expand your influence over this community.
Yeah, I'll touch base a little bit. We've had a lot of moms in the group that come to me for everything under the sun, which is so cool because we're working moms. We're all kind of having the same struggles. And so we get a lot of phone calls with people just asking the craziest things like, you know, Sara, do you have Life 360 on your teenagers? And I'm like, I don't know, was I supposed to? You know, these kinds of things. And it's becoming, I just appreciate life so much more because every day I can talk to somebody that I don't really know well. You know, we bounce off ideas. And so I never would have expected LinkUnite to turn into this. I mean, we're supporting each other professionally, but also personally, which you just don't get that anywhere.
Yeah, good professional tips and tricks you've learned to, you know, sort of survive in the world, right?
Yeah.
And
Survive
and
the
flourish.
conference.
So
like, how
for
are you away from your children? Sara, tell about your spreadsheet.
Oh my God. So I have two teenagers now, an 18 and a 16-year-old. But when I first started really traveling, they were little. And I would have this spreadsheet per color. So my son would be one color, my daughter another. I'd have parents and friends. You know, you got to pick Shane up from basketball. Molly has to be picked up from here. It was a complete nightmare. They're both driving now, so easier, but still stressful knowing that they're out driving. And so I don't know. I don't know what's better, but
I like that. That's awesome. And that's part of creating a community, right?
Yeah.
To support each other. And Amanda, we know you've recently had a child yourself, which congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. Yeah, we're
Congrats.
family people too. Carson's, well, you got 3 children. I've got 4. And so
I have 3 girls. Yeah.
we love kids too. And they just make the world that much better for sure.
They do. She brings a whole new value to it. It's crazy. I love being a mom, but it's a different way to even connect with people, right? Like it's different when you are trying to, you know, and excuse me for being explicit, like going to a show and pump and asking people like, hey, how did you hide in the bathroom? What did you do? And it's a whole other level of connection that I don't think it's unique to the group, but it's just unique to women in general. And you just find a little bit of camaraderie in it. It makes you feel like you're seen when you're trying to hide at the same time.
Yeah, for sure.
And you both have kind of created careers where you have flexibility and you can sort of work around all those personal things that you've got going on. And it's a lot, right? To manage, as you mentioned, Sara, is just a lot of you're like a traffic cop, and,
yeah.
you know, and so you're offensive coordinator.
Oh my God.
sure.
You guys would laugh. I was on a Zoom call earlier and I was peeling potatoes. My kids were kind of like, living in a college dorm in my house. I can't quite explain it now that they're older. But they gave me a contest this week to see if I could cook dinner every night this week. And I'm like, guys, 2 nights is one thing, but 5 nights. And so we've turned this into a contest. So I have to actually
Wait a
cook
minute,
dinner.
Yeah, what are they going to give you though for that? It feels like they should reward you for it.
I don't know. I mean, really, what are they going to reward me? Like maybe they'll come home early one night, like one Friday or Saturday night, so I can go to sleep.
Yeah, they got nothing to offer except for, affection and love or something. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I have my youngest is 17. She's just finishing high school right now. My middle daughter's 20, and then my oldest is 22. And so I still have 2 at home, but it's fun. It's fun getting to see them become people,
Yeah.
and the personalities that they have, and the personalities they had when they were younger have just sort of continued to evolve, and they're largely still the same people, which is kind of cool to see that and get to know them as people. So
Yeah,
True.
all 4 of mine are like either teenagers or about to be teenagers because we had them all pretty close together, and we're actually enjoying it more now certainly than they were younger, just because there's so many of them and we were tired all the time.
Yeah.
But
You're playing
now-
zone defense
but
over
now
there.
even-
That's crazy.
right, and now things are going so fast that I'm like, how do I slow it down? That's my
Yeah.
whole goal: slow down this moment with my kids. It's not working, for the record, but I'm trying, just because it's so fun, and they're going to be gone before you know it. You blink and they're out.
Are they
So,
carbon copies of you guys? Yours.
one of mine is, I'll say in general, you see my kids, you're like, oh yeah, they're definitely my children, But fortunately, they're not exactly like me. I feel like they're better versions of me, so I'm happy about that.
oh yeah, I know.
Love
I
that.
see like lots of similarities. I hear from my family will be like, oh, this daughter's just like you in this way or that way. And I've got one daughter that loves to like scroll through the comments and like see what people are saying. That's kind of like me. I just like to troll the comments. And then, online social. And then my other daughter like loves rap music, and she's like, I get that from my dad, and so
Aw.
it's kind of funny. Today's my 20-year-old daughter's birthday. And I got her some Jordan 1s. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
she's like excited
Great
about
gift.
that. So she's excited about that. She's got some new shoes, new kicks, and she's like, this is Dad's fault. So she's like, you can't complain about all the shoes laying everywhere because you're just as bad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we love shoes around our house too.
Well, I have some lead gen questions. We've talked about family for a while, which is more fun anyway. But it seems like our industry is changing a lot right now, and my opinion is it's largely for the better. I think those with expertise and will win out because of it. What do you two see as the future? Like what's going to happen over the next year in lead generation, and why does it matter? And what I would even say excited for?
Right. So we don't have a crystal ball. I think everyone's kind of in a guessing game at this point of what the acronyms that be want to inflict on our industry. But at the same time, I agree with you. I think it's all for the better. One-to-one consent, I think it was just a really fast race to the finish line and a really quick turnover. So I think people were kind of panicking in that way. But I mean, at the end of the day, it is the idea behind it is to protect the consumer, right? So those that I think get ahead of it, whether that is creating their own O&O sites, getting more direct into what they're generating versus trying to buy from third-party affiliate, utilizing the correct technology. I mean, there's a ton of different platforms right now that are coming out with their own technology that even automate this for you, checkboxes included, right? So I think it's going to be a little bit of a slowdown in that migration, but it's still going to continue over the next year. So January 27th is coming up very quickly, regardless for everyone. But I don't know that with the new administration, it's going to be as hasty of a turnover for the industry as I think we were anticipating. So I think we're all kind of patiently waiting to see what happens. But those that get ahead of it quickly are going to be the premier, advertisers in the space, right? People are going to work with them because they're going to, limit liability on the front end, back end.
Yeah, and I think the hope would be that we all take a pause and we take this moment, like you said, Amanda, to think of the consumer a little better. Because to do that massive amount of outreach or million touch points just to find that one person out of 1,000 really isn't good for the other 999 consumers that are experiencing that. Well, if you can create a scenario where you have a higher end lead a higher end experience. We like that too because it benefits us because we consider ourselves a higher end solution, and it's worth that extra expense that's sometimes associated with it because the consumer experience is better. The end result ends up being better anyway. And it's about trying to narrow that down from maybe 1,000 to 50. 1 out of 50 is a little bit better, or 1 out of 10 even would be ideal. But
you're paying for it on the front or back end. At the end of the day, like if you're buying crud data and you're running, in non-compliantly, right? You're going to incur a cost, whether it be court costs or some sort of violation or something that is going to come up at some point if you're not doing it. So that comes back to take responsibility and kind of just start, even if it's slowly, but just start coming up to date with what you're doing, however you're doing that business development side and your outreach. Like you said, you don't need to blast 1 million people to get a lead. It's a lower end lead. Bring in that funnel, get a more qualified lead and sell it for a higher price. Your margins are better. You're avoiding litigation. It just makes sense overall. It's just, I think a lot of people are used to doing what they're doing. It's been the Wild West in our industry for quite a while, right? So it's just it's a change of pace, but it'll be the new norm. And if there's any industry that will survive, it's this one. That's for sure.
I think that creativity is going to be rewarded here. Those that have a lot of experience and have seen the transitions over the past, sort of get ahead of it and come up with some creative solutions. They can really come out on top and win with this big time. And so that's kind of what we're planning on. Where we sit is with Squeeze. We're sort of like down the funnel from the front end lead generation. We're working with the leads that are coming in and converting them into sales opportunities and closed won business. But there's some of our partners today that we've talked to, one in particular that is like asking us what we can do to like fix this issue for them. And we're like, well, this isn't really like this. If you're asking us, you're maybe like asking the wrong people, because that's not necessarily, we have some ideas and we can sort of throw some things out that we think you could tackle, but they're looking at us like, what are we going to do? We're not prepared for this. And it's just going to go live in, 10, 15 days. Right. And so pretty crazy.
Here's your partner network. That's where you go into your network. It's like you should be reaching out to your Neuras, Integra Shields, all your fun stuff, right? All of those guys. That's who you should be implementing, at least on the front end, to eliminate some of that fraud and, those bots and things like that are probably coming through your funnel in some way. And if you're not doing that type of, lead gen, start moving more towards direct relationships and less affiliate marketing networks, right? Because it's going to, again, it's going to cost you money. Everyone that's been doing this long enough knows they have, a limited amount of time before they get pinged with something if they're not doing it correctly.
Oh, and for sure. And you just alluded to it. There's all these middlemen that are in our industry, and they've been plaguing our industry as long as I think any of us have been around.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who just like to sit in the middle and take a cut because they can, because they're hustlers, I guess, to their credit. But it's time to kind of remove that element out of our industry. It's time to work directly. Buyers and sellers should be working directly. The good service providers, like your company, Amanda, or ours, we should be forefront and kind of just let all these other crazy people, frankly, it's time for them to move on to another place. In a new industry,
I think it's slowly matriculating out. It will have to, right? And even with all the new technology and stuff like that, coach calls are easier to catch. You've got AI infrastructure like Balto that can do heat signatures and listen to things for keywords. People can start weeding that stuff out. It's just how much can you afford to put in your tech stack to do that on the front end? Because not everyone's making a ton of money, but that's where your partnerships come in handy. It's like figure out how you can make it work for yourself or have a better relationship with those people you're buying that traffic from and eliminate that on the front end, right?
Yeah, more control over your funnel for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I think one real cool positive thing about compliance, though, is the education piece. I've noticed, at all of our events and the events that we have attend, speakers are actually getting up on stage and actually educating our attendees rather than just trying to sell their product. So that's a big change that I've seen. And I think it's going to continue on into 2025, I think that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen a lot more great content being put out at the events. And we were at Lead Gen World just like last week, actually, just a week ago today. And that was a great event and lots of great speakers that were there. And I know you had a big part in that, Sara. What events do you have coming up that you want to talk about, either trade show wise or with you LinkUnite that you're putting on?
Yeah, well, as Amanda said earlier, we're planning LinkUnite 5. We're not quite ready to release our location and dates. That's everybody kind of waits for that. But we've got ASW, we're doing a meetup at. We've got LeadsCon, MAU. See, Amanda, what else am I missing that's coming up? The
That's
next
just
PI
the
Live.
end of Q1 through April. So we try to diversify, but be around as much as possible.
That's a lot of events. Yeah.
Yeah, we have either a meetup or round table or something for all the LinkUnite members at all of the events in the industry. So they can always know that when they go, you go to something that LinkUnite's having. If you don't know anybody or you want to make dinner plans or walk together to meetups, that's a big piece of this.
All right, Sarah, I'm going to ask you a crazy question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
It just came to me, and I just want to know. I asked Mike the same question, and he did not answer it in a way I liked, which is okay. What if you've done a lot of events now, a lot. If you could just wave a magic wand and have something happen at an event, something that's either too cost prohibitive right now or people have told you no, what would you do? What would be your kind of like, let's do something crazy, and then what would that be?
Oh gosh, allow all the women to attend for free. No, they don't have to pay for passes. We have a lot of people at all of these events that come and hang out at the bars in the lobby con people. So Mike and I have been trying to educate everybody over the past year, and not just for our events, but for everybody else's, that, if you're not purchasing a pass and you're coming and hanging out in the lobby and the bars, that's going to ultimately hurt the event. And we're doing these to help you make business. So I think if I had to wave the wand, it would be to take all the lobby conners and get them to the registration desk.
Well, wait, it sounds like what you need is like a net gun.
Yeah.
Or something like that. For permission to go out there, net gun them, drag them. All right, let's see that credit card. You're going to sign up for a pass,
Yeah, and we're good about offering discounts and, trying to educate people about getting their passes early on. That will give them a refund. And this is for all of the events, not just ours, but it's, we know it's challenging to purchase those passes, but ultimately that's going to keep the events around.
Well, I think you're going there to generate business. And so if you're spending, $800, $1,000, $1,200 on a pass, it may seem like a lot because I was there in 2009. I have a sort of a funny story when we started Squeeze. I went to go register for 3 of us to go to the show for LeadsCon 2009, and it was $700 a ticket. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, that's $2,100 for the 3 of us to go. And then I went on their website and I looked at their, the booths and stuff, and they had like a 10 by 10 booth with 3 passes for $2,100. Yeah. I was like, all right, we're gonna have a booth. We didn't even have a business yet. We were like, so then we outfitted it, everything. How are we gonna, what brand are we gonna throw up there and everything? It was kind of a funny like hack that we did.
Yeah, you guys were still talking through names, I think, at that point too.
We hadn't totally settled on the name yet and everything. And but it was good, and we ended up paying to be there, but we generated a contract from that. We came away with a small lender that wanted to work with us. It was our first client. And so paying to go to these shows, it pays off even though it's expensive. It's an investment in your business. It's an investment in, the relationships and business that you're going to get from it. And I think just paying to be there is well worth it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, guys,
I was going to actually, I was thinking about, other things that, we were going to ask about what's coming up in lead generation. Yeah. What do you guys see coming down the pipe this year? Other things that are going on?
Regulation is going to be the biggest one, but I think from a side of that, I think a lot of people are rethinking just their relationships and their tech stacks, essentially, like how they're actually doing business. It's just a reevaluation of from top down. So I think even who they're working with, not saying that all offshore is bad, but just, rethinking those relationships, rewriting contracts, right? Making sure that there's protection for certain things. I think we're going to see a lot more of that, which is left out of the conversation, is going back and actually rewriting contracts and redefining relationships that are currently established. that's a huge component of the compliance piece, right? Is you're going to have to audit your entire, book of business at the end of the day, just to make sure that you're protected. But vertical wise, I think you see the ebb and flow of all of the verticals. We've all been this long enough. Things come, they go. It's really interesting to see, auto make a resurgence. It's interesting to see legal be a huge vertical that everyone seems to be swarming towards. I think it's going to be fun to watch all these different businesses evolve, knowing that they have to diversify to sort of survive, right? You're not going to be able to just do that. I mean, some will be able to one single vertical, but I think that you're going to see a lot more of a diversification of business and books of businesses and what people are doing, personally.
I agree that if you're only in one vertical and you've been in lead generation long enough, you're toast. Everything, like you said, it ebbs and flows. If you're only auto for the last 4 or 5 years, you would have been in big trouble. So
Correct.
It is good to see that vertical in particular come back.
And I think ACA and all of those verticals have a, Medicare, everyone that lives in those worlds with additional compliance rules around CMS and things like that. Those verticals, I think, are going to go under a huge reconstruction as well, as they kind of come out this year with their own regulations and new books of, to-dos and not do's.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think, Sarah?
I've also noticed 10 years ago, everybody was willing to just do business with anybody, right? We were all just trying to make money no matter how we did it. I've seen a shift now where people just want to work with good people. And that's changed a lot in lead gen, in my opinion. And same with Amanda and I. We're like, we just want to be around good people. It's as simple as that. Let's help each other, grow businesses, make money. But you got to be a good person. That's changed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I'm fatigued from all the shenanigans throughout the years. So
that's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, for that transition. For sure.
Well, speaking of shenanigans, we were at a show recently, I'll say, and there was like a guest speaker.
Oh my gosh!
And then we're watching this, and it was open mic for questions, and person grabs the mic and then goes on like an 8-minute spiel about their business. And it had nothing to do with like asking a question to the guest speaker. And then he sort of tied in a question at the end, and it was like super awkward. I'm like, what is going on here? Like, get this guy off the mic,
Bye,
And I know
Exactly.
I know Sarah was probably feeling the same way when you saw that or whatever. I'm like, it's kind of funny that people it's like a self-promotion thing or whatever.
It's funny you say that, because Mike and I still run the stages inside the exhibit hall at our events, and people are like, haven't you guys done this long enough where you can let somebody else do it? And I'm like, actually not for reasons like this, because him and I will walk over and be like, all right, it's time to cut. You have a question or what? Like, let's go.
Yeah.
So
Sarah has the giant hook for the stage.
Oh,
she just keeps in her pocket. It's collapsible.
Now you guys got to remember, I'm from Boston, and so I just don't care now. I'll tell you right how it is. Like,
yeah. If you had a camera on the audience, I was there, and I think I was doing this. I was like, okay, let's get this guy off the stage, off the mic.
Yeah.
But I had a thought, an idea that came up while we were here, and like, we with LeadsCon coming up, that's one that we're going to be at for sure in April. And a lot of times we'll throw like an event at Topgolf, I think, and we're planning that right now. And we have a few other sponsors that are sort of helping us cover the costs and things. And as we're a sponsor of LinkUnite, we should just have you sponsor with us, and we'll cover the cost, and you guys can put it out to your members and come out to the event for free and enjoy. We'll have food and drinks and things like that.
Amazing. We love coming to the Squeeze event.
Yeah.
Good. Well, let's do it. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, we want to thank you guys too for your corporate partnership as well. I mean, that's what's helping us grow this whole initiative. So we appreciate you guys so much.
And just for the record, he did make that up, right? He didn't even tell any of us. It's the first time I've heard it, which I like. I like how that's on the fly like that. Well, we're kind of winding down here. What are some parting thoughts? You're going to look at our audience each and just say, here's some things I want you to know, either about me or LinkUnite or anything you want at all. What's kind of like your parting message for everybody?
Don't ever hesitate to reach out. Don't even think twice.
Oh.
Sarah and I will always find a way to partner or help or whatever we can do that's in our capacity. But we love new ideas. We love new people. So people always think it's something standard. They're so used to that. And for us, it's come to us with ideas. We just want to grow and do things with good people, which just seems to be the resonant message like we were talking about.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I would just
What do you think, Sarah?
direct to any CEOs listening that have females on their team. You got to join us. You got to join LinkUnite. The value is endless. And we're happy to hop on a call with anybody. You want us to hop on with your CEO? Amanda and I, yeah, totally. We'll totally do that for you and explain what we do. And like Amanda said, we're the two most accessible humans. I mean, you want to call us on a Sunday afternoon? I mean, she might be sleeping with a newborn, but she'll push it to me. But we take calls. We're happy. We love what we're doing.
Very cool.
Well, as a girl dad, I just really appreciate everything you're doing. My girls are just entering the workforce here soon, and they're experiencing, everything that you've gone through and everything that my wife's gone through, and the community that you're creating is just awesome for women, and we're happy to support that. So thank you so much, and
Bring them
thank
on
you
into
for being
LinkUnite.
here.
We're looking forward.
Yeah, it was like we're gonna get them in our mentorship program.
That's right.
Yes.
My youngest would be down for that. My two older ones are a little more, they're super quiet, and reserved, but.
Well, my parting thoughts, I'm going to echo what the two of you just said. When you work with good people and you've got a good cause, it changes from work to passion. And you can see that in both of what the two of you have talked about today and what I've seen you do over the many years you've been doing this. So it's a beautiful thing to see that. So hope to always mirror that myself, and find that cause. So that's awesome. What do you think, Carson?
Awesome.
Yeah, I think I'm really excited to see your events this year and everything you're putting together. I think we're going to continue to support that and see all the great relationships that come out of it, and experience all the growth and everything that comes from putting people together and having good events. And so I just want to thank you all for joining us here today, and we'll probably wrap up. So
yeah, we'll wrap up. You've been
Thank
watching
you.
the Juice Consumer Direct. Yeah, you've been watching the Juice, the Consumer Direct podcast with Nate Clegg, Carson Poppenger, Amanda Farris, and Sara Malo. So thanks, guys, for coming.
Bye,
I really
everyone.
appreciate it.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Right.